Welcome to the Success Code podcast. Here we talk with leaders, CEOs, and founders to share the secrets, strategies, and insights that turn dreams and visions into a successful business. Today's guest is Dr. Harris Masket, a sport medicine physician with over 20 years of experience. He helps athletes and patients reach their best health and performance. Dr. Masket is part of the medical team, Jisen, a clinic that integrates advanced diagnostics, innovate technologies and therapies designed to improve performance and help clients live health and better lives. Welcome, Dr. Harris, and please, before we dive in, could you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about the company?
Sure, and thank you for having me on your show, Julia. So my name is Dr. Harris Masket, and I appreciate that wonderful introduction. I'm an integrative sports medicine physician, and I work at Jisen in Mill Valley, California. That's in Marin County. And I take care of everybody. I think we're all athletes, and so I treat us all like we're athletes. So some people are trying to become athletic and feel like that's true, and others are already athletes or even professional athletes, and I try to help those folks get to a higher level of performance. But for everybody, I want to do this in a way that leads to longevity and enjoying your life.
Definitely. And I can see you have an impressive background in healthcare with so many years of experience. And what inspired you, your journey into this field, and what brought you to Jisen?
So great question. Thanks. So what inspired me, actually, I was just learning enough sports medicine early in my career when I finished my internal medicine residency that I wanted to study sports medicine and do a subspecialty in sports. And I learned all of the amazing things that we were doing with Olympic athletes. And you know, if you had an Olympic athlete who went to the training facilities, they would study all of the things that we do in longevity medicine now. And I thought, why don't we do this for everybody? You know, like there's no, the secret's out. We know what we need to do. Why don't we provide this care to everybody? And I asked people when I was interviewing for fellowships, and I asked others, and I tried to start clinics. And that's what really inspired me to join Jisen, because they were doing what I had been dreaming of for so many years.
Okay. Can you give us an overview of the clinic and what someone can expect during their first visit?
Sure. Yeah, Jisen is a multidisciplinary clinic. So we've got 4 physicians, but we've also got an IV center. We've got advanced technologies. We've got a bodywork center. We've got a neurofit, which is a whole brain wing of the practice. And so there are a lot of pieces of Jisen. So you can enter from a number of ways. I have some people who entered through getting physical therapy and then came to see me that way. So a lot of disciplines are here, and you can enter any number of ways. You can enter and say, I want to get an IV, and I'm just going to go in that way. Or I can use one of the technologies, or I can start by getting my brain health targeted. But what mostly I see is people who come in starting to see me and say, I want to either crack my longevity code, or reach high performance, or help me lose some weight, or understand my endocrine, my hormones. And so people start with me that way, and I introduce them to all the different pieces of Jisen if that's what's appropriate for their care.
Okay. You guys work with all the ages, like since young men or young kids who are starting, practicing sports, or also people who are getting older. Like, what is the perfect time to start this treatment?
Yeah, well, my youngest patients are in their young teens, and my oldest patients are in their mid-90s. So that's pretty much everyone except for, I guess, young pediatrics. But there are even some young pediatric cases being seen in the Brain Health Center. So what we're doing is mostly adult medicine. And so when I say adults, that's teens and people in their 20s who are athletes. And that's people in their 30s who are trying to stay or become athletic then, or even people in their 40s to 60s who are starting to identify longevity as a goal for them. So I treat a wide range of populations, but I'd say most of the folks I treat are in their middle, the middle ranges, 35 to 65, or the younger ages, people around their higher performance athletic years, like later teens, early 20s.
It's clear that Jisen is really stand out for so much innovation in the industry. And from your perspective, which technology you guys offered that you think it's have been making the biggest difference in patients' life and outcomes?
That's a great question. What my practice, as I've been describing, is I'll tell you in that way. But we also have two doctors who take care of a lot of people with chronic disease, whether it's Lyme or co-infections or mold, and those folks are getting helped a lot by our detox procedures, whether that's IV treatments or a really cool device called the Hocket or red light or cryo.
Mhm.
Um, and then on my end, I tend to see more performance. And so what I'm getting a lot out of with my clients is exercise testing, where we
Mhm.
sort of uncover how your mitochondria are actually working. And also performance training, like with the Live O2 or with the Vasper device. So I'm getting a lot out of my performance testing and then my performance training.
Can you tell me a little bit more about the red light treatment? I hear about it and I have done, I think, once. And can you like tell us more the benefits of that?
Sure. The red light therapy has actually been studied for years in
Mhm.
Russia and Ukraine, and there's terrific
Mhm.
old journal articles going way back that describe how red light works. Red light,
Mhm.
the wavelength of red light and near infrared and infrared light is just right for turning your mitochondria up a little bit in their production of energy. So basically, you produce more energy with this exposure. Now, this exposure can get to your skin and even a little bit deeper. And as deep as it goes, that's how much of a response you'll get. Now we have muscle tissue, we have blood flowing through our skin at those shallow layers, but our skin also gets a lot of the benefit. So you see people using red light therapy for their hair, for their skin,
Mhm.
they wear masks, but they're also whole body red lights. And we have a whole body bed where people can lay there and get the benefits after like a workout or before a workout. And it really
Mhm.
basically just turns everything up. So what I notice is you have people, just like I described, are sort of two patient populations. You have one who are struggling with something, and their body is really fighting infection or inflammation for chronically, and this just turns up their ability to do that. Then you have other folks who are doing really well and trying to get to performance. And then you need some help to just nudge you even higher. And so I find red light therapy really works well there. And I used it myself. I'm using all of these things myself because I'm an athlete still. I'm a
Mhm.
master's athlete. And I was training really hard this year. And I found red light helped me a lot.
Oh, that's awesome. And for someone like me, I just turned 27 and I love sports. I love to be running, working out. I love soccer. And what advice would you give for someone at my age so I can keep being like that for many, many years?
Yeah, that's a question I get. And I think there are several pieces. It's not just one answer. There are pieces, and I like to think of it as like your platform, what you're standing on, and those are recovery. So how are you recovering? How's your body recovering? Any athlete is an athlete because they recover well. That means they go and do something hard. They challenge their body. They do a little bit of damage to the tendons and the muscles, and then they recover and they become stronger. So it's really important that athletes recover well because when they don't, they become injured and they don't get better. So recovery is a big piece. So we have to make sure that our sleep is good, but not just sleep
Mhm.
during the day and during the night. How is our body actually improving? And then there's movement. How are we moving? Is our movement moving us well, or do we have deficiencies in our movement where we're cheating and using our back in the wrong way, so we're going to develop back pain, or we're leaning on a joint in the way that doesn't allow our motion to be really stable. So movement is a big piece. Recovery is a big piece. Obviously, nutrition. Everyone talks about that, and I really like diving into how is your gut working. How are you absorbing the nutrients? And then do you have those nutrients? So laboratory tests are really key to understanding, is your gut doing what you want to put the nutrients in the muscles that you have? And then, the big thing that athletes deal with is injury. So how are we recovering from those injuries? And I love to help athletes with that. One technology I didn't mention is that we love regenerative technologies. So instead of in the sports medicine I learned, which was a lot about putting a steroid into a part of the body, we like using regenerative technologies that can really help your body get better in a way that is also promoting longevity and helping those tissues heal.
Wow, thank you so much. I would definitely remember that. And speaking about technology, right? Um, AI is becoming an important part of healthcare, helping with patients, diagnostic, or even improving the workflow of the clinic. Could you please share your opinion and how you see AI impacting your industry in the next few years?
Yeah, well, AI has made a big impact on healthcare alone in the last handful of years that AI has emerged. And that's emerged in a few different, or maybe two ways of looking at it. One is the patient side, which, I'm a patient, you're a patient. We put our labs, we put all of our things into AI and say, what do I do next? And I get patients coming in all the time telling me, here's what the AI told me I should be doing now for my this or my that. And then you also have the physician side where we're using AI tools to help us with patient care. So we're all here using these things, but what our company is trying to do is use AI in a safe way that protects our patient information to put all of our patient data together so that we can learn from from the outcomes we have and the treatments we're doing. And we've partnered with a company that is using AI to basically create a better understanding of the outcomes we're generating. So we're learning about outcomes, we're learning about the treatments we're using, we're gathering our data and we're putting it together. And we're just at the beginning of this, but it is really transforming what we're doing. And this is going to transform healthcare, because I think what you're going to see is that in a traditional healthcare model where people are, necessarily just getting these medications to treat symptoms of what they have, but not really treat the problem, you're going to see that they're not getting the outcomes. And we're already seeing that in big studies. But when you look at what we're doing, you're going to start seeing over time some incredible outcomes and newer therapies that are working. And so I'm really excited about that. Plus, AI is also helping our workflows. It's helping our documentation. It's really, since we went to electronic charting, which I'm old enough to remember, it's really a game changer, and it's making things finally a lot better for everybody.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's making a big impact and it really improve everybody's lives. It's really impressed. And I'm sure that bringing so much innovation for the clinic and also growing the clinic always comes with many challenges, right? Could you please share with us what some of the biggest challenges you and your team have faced in this industry so far?
Yeah, I think anytime you start a business, well, even backing up further, healthcare is there's always opportunities to do something that is that reaches a lot of people, touches an important mission in making the world better, and there's a lot of money to be made potentially, but there's also just a lot of opportunity out there. Everyone, it's an endless demand for healthcare, and in our country, there are so many problems with healthcare. The demand is even greater. Plus, we have so many technologies, it seems like the promise for healthcare is big. So whenever you're starting a venture in healthcare, it's really important that you are, besides doing the due diligence of understanding what the demands are, what the technologies are, it's important to have direct feedback from the people who are delivering these systems and receiving these systems. So I think some of the learning here at Jisen and in other places that I've been connected with and colleagues I have is that you need to understand where are we going to be having our most impact. You need to understand where you can have an impact, and then you need to speak to the people who deliver that kind of care, who understand what that impact is like, so you can understand the ins and outs of what it will be like to deliver medical care, what it will be like to deliver cutting edge technologies, what will be the interest, how quickly can you turn patients around, what will be the upkeep of these new technologies. So there are a lot of there are a lot of things you learn when you start a business in healthcare, and it's great because you can keep going because there's always more of a need. There will always be more people who want to be helped, and we're at the cutting edge. There's so many new scientific advances all the time, and so it's an exciting time to be in a business of healthcare.
Okay, and on the flip side, what strategies or marketing or operations have been most successful in helping the clinic to grow?
Well, I think podcasts like these are really helpful. I think the more we get out and talk with people, actually, the better. It's really helpful when you're starting this business to let people know what you're doing, especially since this is cutting edge. Most of the people who come to us, most of our clients, are really interested in healthcare, and they seek this information on their own. They watch podcasts, they listen to things, they read things online, and so it's a very engaged group of healthcare participants, and so we have to reach them where they are. And so whether it's social media or talks like this or going to community places and giving talks, it's really been helpful. You always have to market, and that's really important because we're doing something new. And one thing that you could say that one of our big competitors is the big insurance-based HMOs, and they do have a lot of money to advertise. So we need to get ourselves out there to promote what we're doing. We need to get the word out, because I think the thing that we offer is that we are experts in this growing field of healthcare technology. And most of our clients come to us saying, I'm reading a lot, I'm learning a lot. Please explain this to me. I need a partner because I don't really want to trust just what I've learned. There's so many things on the internet. And so getting ourselves out there and showing that we can be your partner in this, in the wild west of new healthcare has really been effective. And so the more the better.
Yes, and all the clinics, everyone out there who is running a business or a clinics, they're they want to improve, right? They want to bring innovation. So if you could give them an advice for someone who is just starting with a new clinic or someone a clinic that wants to become like Jason, if you could give them an advice, where do you think they should start?
So that's important. Where do you start? Well, first, you always have a mission, and what's your mission? And I think in healthcare, it's very important to have a mission-driven enterprise, because in the end, it is always healthcare. These are always people who are coming in some ways vulnerable and trusting you. So if your mission is healthcare, whatever version of it, whatever niche that you're doing, and you're caring for people, then you'll reach people well. Everyone on the staff will be sort of aligned, and the patients will feel cared for. They will want to come back. The number one advertising will always be the people who received your care. So you want to make sure that every experience they have is a great one. And then I'd say the other thing is, and I think I sort of mentioned it, is there's always the promise of a technology, the promise of a delivery system, the promise of an AI. And so there's a technology component and there's a demand for care. But speaking with the people who have experiencing delivering care is really important. There are a lot of, I live in the San Francisco Bay Area. There are a lot of startups and ventures in healthcare that are combined with technology. And, just like you would expect, some are not successful. And I think some of the ones that have been least successful versus more successful understand from the beginning or as early on as they can what will be the problems with the actual delivery, the operational piece of that business. And that what would be helpful there is speak with a physician who has delivered this care, speak with a nurse who has managed this kind of care or a clinic like this, so that you're understanding the ins and outs that will be really important operationally.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And looking for the future, what are the goals and plans for the clinic over the next year?
So Jisen is growing, and I'm excited about it. I'm really excited about Jisen's partnership with AI. I think that'll improve our offering in terms of what I can tell a patient about my plans for them and how I'm going to help them be better in 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. So I think our partnership with AI is really an exciting thing. We've just launched these programs, which are time-based programs, like as a 3-month metabolic program where people can get a hold of their metabolism, their endocrine system, their hormones, and really understand how they can be healthier, whether it's losing weight or optimizing. Just in 3 months, understand so much about their metabolism using all of our tools that we have at Jisen. So we have a 3-month metabolic program. We have a year-long longevity program, which is just much more focused over the course of a year. And I'm really excited about those programs because we've had so much interest, and we're already noticing some terrific changes that our patients are making, even in those, as we've just rolled out the program. So more programs. I'm excited about new technologies we'll be bringing in. We just got the FibroScan, which looks at people's liver and looks for fatty liver and inflammation. So more technologies. And like I said, our partnership with AI is really going to help us with creating plans for people's health over the course of the year.
Amazing. There are impressive goals and vision. And Jason seems to always be evolving to stay ahead in patient care and innovation, and I love. And before we finish, for anyone who wants to learn more about Jason or book a visit, what is the best way to connect with you or your team?
Well, we have a website that's a pretty great starting place, jisen.com, and that'll tell you how you can connect with us. You can usually find us on social media as well. So if you find me there as well, whether it's LinkedIn or Instagram, that's fine too. Just reach out and I'll connect you with our new patient coordinator. You can come in and do a tour, and we'll let you try some of our technologies when you do a tour as well. So we're very open to people coming and checking us out. Try to be as accessible as possible, and we look forward to just any kind of inquiry because we love talking about what we're doing.
Awesome. Dr. Harris, thank you so much for being our guest today and for sharing such valuable insights. It was an honor to have you here. And to your audience, I hope today's conversation can inspire you. And I see you in the next episode. Thank you so much.
Thank you.